First, live, local. This is a Fox 12 First Alert Weather Day.
Good evening and welcome to the 6 o'clock news. I'm Pete Ferryman.
And I'm Nora Hart. It is our 6th First Alert Weather Day here on Fox 12. And finally, the slow thaw is here. But the roads are still treacherous in some areas. And the impacts of the storm are still being felt days after the first round of winter weather moved in. Many people are dealing with power outages still, tree damage, and bursting pipes.
Tonight, we have crews spread out across the metro area, checking out the road conditions and the impacts. We also have the latest on a tragic story tonight involving a fallen power line. But we start off with Fox 12 Chief Meteorologist Mark Nelson. And Mark, it seems like this thaw is going to be a little slower to develop than we originally thought, right?
Yeah, it's not quite like the thing that has happened in the past where it's like, okay, it's not happening for days. I mean, we did go above freezing most areas in the metro, but not as much as I would have liked to have seen. I guess maybe that's a good way to put it. So what you really want to know about tonight and tomorrow morning's commute, what's going to happen here? Well, no widespread big refreezing. I don't expect most of us to drop back down below freezing. I think most areas hover between 32 and 40 all night. So an extremely slow thaw for most of us. If you've ever put in like a frozen chicken into your fridge in the evening, the next morning it's still pretty frozen, even though the fridge is like 35 degrees. Good example there. Icy roads, of course, very slow to melt to these temps. So the good news is I do not expect any new ice glazing on roads overnight because those temperatures won't drop below freezing. Now, calm wind for most tonight, but late tonight, that gusty cold east wind returns out near the gorge, and that is a problem. We talked about this yesterday that we thought we might see freezing rain Thursday in parts of the metro area. We may. So 33 degrees, that's about the most miserable weather you can find there, 33 degrees and drizzle. And notice in the metro area, almost everybody above freezing. Out in Camas, 32, but 39 in Happy Valley, 34 in Troutdale. Even the west end of the gorge has gone above freezing, which means we've lost our cold east wind, but the warm southerlies only came up to the southern edge of the metro area today. Places like Lake Oswego, you were up in the low 40s, at least for a few hours. All right, so the rain is moving off to the south. We do have scattered showers through the next few hours. Here's the model forecast, what we expect. And yeah, we've got the scattered showers through the evening. But then as we go towards the middle of the night and beyond, rain starts to spread back in. It's above freezing, but late tonight and tomorrow morning, here's the morning commute, that strong east wind starts blowing and it is below freezing out in the gorge. So that's going to transport more of that cold air westward. So could we see some freezing rain? Yes, possibly, especially east metro, maybe some ice glazing with the wind. Temperatures hover out there, 31 to 35 all day tomorrow. Keep in mind during the daytime, it's got to be below 30 in the 20s for fresh rain to freeze onto roadways. So this may just happen on, power lines and also on trees. It may not affect the roads. The roads will just continue to try to thaw a bit. And this is also going to happen in the West Hills tomorrow, I think all day long, rainy, with temperatures just right around freezing. Probably not enough to get more ice on the roadways, but just to add more to the misery. And I feel sorry for the linemen and the people working on the lines out there with PGE and Pacific Corp. Okay, we'll talk more about what we see as we head into the weekend in my first alert forecast on the way.
All right, Mark, thank you. Now to some heartbreaking news this evening. 3 people, including a teenager, were killed today after a downed wire landed on an SUV.
Fox 12's Drew Marine joins us live from the scene to tell us what happened and what you can do if you find yourself near a live wire. Drew, this is just tragic.
Yeah, it's a devastating story. I imagine the family's heart is broken. Portland Fire and Rescue says a branch fell on a live wire, which then fell on this red SUV behind me. You can see the branch and wire have since been cleared by crews. Once they exited the car, the electric current went through 2 adults and a teenager, killing them. And we have just learned the teenager's name was Tayron Briggs, who was a sophomore at Milwaukee High School. This weekend's storm has once again proven to be deadly. Portland Fire and Rescue says a branch fell onto a live wire, which then fell onto a car with 4 people in it near Northeast Siskiyou Street and 122nd Avenue. When they got out, spokesperson Rick Graves says 2 adults and a teenager were killed by the electrical current.
The vehicle was electrified, and so when they touched the ground and touched the vehicle, the electrical current ran through them. And the end result is we have 3 deceased individuals.
A 2-year-old was also in the car when this happened, but Graves says they survived after a community member was able to get the child from the middle of the street. The 2-year-old was then taken to the hospital.
I saw the child visibly unaffected. I mean, unaware, obviously emotionally, that there was such a significant tragic event that occurred.
There have been downed wires across the metro area as a result of this storm. So what do you do if you come across one? Graves says you should always assume a wire is live. If you happen to be in your car and a live wire falls on the car, he says you should stay inside and call 911. The only time you should get out of your car in a situation like this is if a fire starts.
Theoretically, there is a safe way. You can exit the vehicle by jumping and not touching the vehicle, landing on the ground simultaneously with both feet at the same time, and then hopping away, same process until you move away from that electrical field.
Milwaukee High School sent out a letter to families today saying Tehran will be missed in and out of the classroom. Live in Northeast Portland, Drew Marine, Fox 12 Oregon.
Yeah, just horrifying. Drew, thank you. Fox 12 Now's Greg Nibbler also spoke to a Forest Grove Light and Power representative about the science behind tragic cases like this and what you can do to stay safe from fallen power lines.
The best thing you can do is stay in the car. It sounds crazy to think that that wouldn't be the safest thing, but it is. Those tires are protecting you. They're insulating you from that voltage. You're kind of like a bird on a wire, if you want to say, just because it's keeping you safe with those tires. We have a lot of protective devices that are built into our systems. We have relay protection that protects you from when you hit a car hits a pole and the wires come down on you, but they don't always work. They're not 100%. So that's why we make sure that if we report something, our guys have equipment that come up, they know how to approach those things. They can sense whether or not a line is energized or not using the equipment and the training that they have at their disposal.
Would they have heard the power line? Is there an audible way or anything that you would feel to know that that is live?
No, it's one of those things, and that's what makes electricity such a tough thing is you can't really see it, you can't hear it, you won't smell it. It's just one of those things that you'll hear there. You might have heard a buzz or anything that was going on, but it's very rare, especially because it happens so fast. And that's what makes this such a difficult thing. As soon as you step out of the car, you become the new path for that electricity to flow, but from the line to the ground. And you become the conductor, you become the piece of wire. And that's what's so difficult about it. So staying in the car and letting the crews get that wire de-energized and protected and grounded and safe will let you to get out of that vehicle quickly.
But is there anything else that people should know, just whether it's right now with all of this storm or just regardless around power lines?
Yeah, those 5 points is to stay away, report the situation, keep others away, don't touch anything and wait for professionals. If you do those things, you can be safe around the things that keep our power on. So making sure that you do those things and keep those in mind as you walk around, especially during these storms. People want to be out, they've been cooped up, but make sure that if you see anything that you report it and stay away.
And to watch the full interview covering safety advice for downed power lines, just head over to kptv.com and click on the Fox 12 Now tab.
We know 2 people have also been killed by falling trees during this winter storm. Portland Fire and Rescue says the tree fell on a parked RV in southeast Portland Saturday and started a fire. That killed a woman in her 30s. A man in Lake Oswego was killed that same day when a tree fell on his house. There have also been at least 5 suspected hypothermia-related deaths in Multnomah County and Washington County. With so much ice out there, roads have been very dangerous, with thawing just beginning this afternoon.
Fox 12's Connor McCarthy has been on the roads all day in the metro area. He joins us live on the road to show us what it's like out there. And Connor, from what we've seen, the main highways have been in pretty good shape, but it's just those side roads that have been difficult.
Well, Pete and Nora, good evening. Yeah, the highways are pretty well treated right now. Driving, just this morning when the thawing was just beginning, the freeways are actually probably the best roads that we saw throughout the metro area, especially in the eastern part of the county, Multnomah County, where, thawing is just beginning right now and roads are still icy. Right now we're driving through downtown Troutdale. Now, earlier today we were here and it was a lot icier than it looks at the moment. You can kind of see that the roads are starting to thaw a little bit, but it's still pretty icy when we make turns. We can feel the car kind of slide behind us, but we have been seeing a lot of actual puddles at some intersections from ice thawing at the moment and actually creating a little bit of flooding at some intersections. But it's mainly the side roads right now, mainly through residential neighborhoods that are still icy. Crews throughout the metro area have been focused on high traffic roads, so emergency vehicles and buses, public transportation can get to their destinations. And we have been noticing drivers have been very good behind the wheel that are out and about. A lot of people driving slow, being very, very cautious. We have not seen anyone really speeding or doing anything very dangerous. Out here in East County, again, roads are a little bit more icy than, let's say, the center part of the city. But we'll be on the highway for 6:30, and we'll show you a live update during that half hour. But for now, reporting live in Troutdale, Connor McCarthy, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, Connor, thank you. The winter ice and snow has made the roads and the sidewalks very slick and slippery, with some suffering falls serious enough to require medical attention.
And the cold has also caused water pipes to burst. Let's get out to Fox 12's Paulina Aguilar now, who spoke with the local fire department about what their emergency calls have been like over the past few days. Paulina?
Well, Pete and Nora, Clackamas Fire Department say that their medical unit has been out all day assisting patients who have fallen on ice and then transporting them to the hospital. Now, if you haven't been outside lately, this is what the streets and the sidewalks are looking like. Now, I've got my tracks on to prevent me from falling, but you'll see some slush like this. Okay, good. Got some good traction here, but then you'll come over just a couple more feet. This is solid ice right here, and this is what people fall on. Clackamas Fire Department say they've had a busy morning. Falls and broken water pipes are two of the biggest calls they've received.
I think out of those calls, I think we had 8 to 10 just fall calls alone. Just people slipping on ice, people slipping on snow. It looks like it's snow, but it's really just ice.
Because of the weather, Oregonians have been stuck in their home for quite a while. And now that temperatures have risen, there's an urge to go outside.
An elderly gentleman who decided to get out of the house for a little bit and took a walk and slipped and fell, and he definitely went to the hospital.
Clackamas Fire says majority of their patients have gone to the hospital.
Any fall that they had is extremities, hips, bones, muscles.
And Multnomah County has had their fair share of patient hospital visits, including those brought to OHSU. From January 12th to January 17th, Multnomah County reported 67 emergency room visits for cold-related illnesses like hypothermia and frostbite. 26 of those were on Saturday alone, the most in a day since 2016. Over that same 5-day span, they also saw 18 visits for carbon monoxide poisoning. CFD say they've also seen a steady increase in pipes bursting.
And it looks like one of those pipes burst in that room, and that company forced that door to let some of that water out.
This is Station 71 assisting with a water-filled riser room at a local business in Sandy.
We're able to either shut it off at that building, or sometimes with something as large as that, we'll have to shut down a neighborhood or a block.
Now, CFD says that even though they're getting a lot of calls for people who have fallen, they also want to warn you if you are out on the roads driving. This is what it looks like. This is just a mix of ice and slush and snow and everything. So if you do have to be out on the road, take your time, drive slow and safe. Reporting in Milwaukee, Paulina Aguilar, Fox 12 Oregon.
Okay, Paulina, thank you. It has been 5 days since the winter storm first hit our region, and some people are still in the dark tonight.
Fox 12's Julia Lopez has been tracking the progress power crews have been making for days now. She joins us live in studio.
Thanks, Pete and Nora. Yeah, I've been talking with both PGE and Pacific Power. Each said they've made progress since tens of thousands were without power last night. But outages are still affecting some people across the area. Officials hope that we get thawing temperatures that help reduce the likelihood that we'll see new outages as the night goes on. The icy or slushy roads and many downed trees still make it harder than normal for crews to get to the areas they need to go, assess the damage, and make timely repairs.
It's making more complex because of the icy conditions, and also because of the accumulation of ice on the wires. It's kind of making it heavy.
Repairs are getting repetitive. The crews are de-icing wires only to have them refreeze again. The hardest hit Pacific Power customers are in the Willamette Valley. As of right now, 1,200 people remain without power there. Looking now at the current outage numbers for the Portland area, we can see they've dipped significantly. Last night, about 26,000 customers were in the dark. This morning, around 9 a.m., that number dropped to about 15,000, and we're still staying at around 10,000 now in the metro area. Both PGE and Pacific Power say they're continuing to work around the clock to restore power to everyone affected. Pacific hopes to have the lights on for all customers by tomorrow. In studio, Julia Lopez, Fox 12 Oregon.
That'll be a big relief for a lot of people. Julia, thank you. As we head into the break, a live look from our Portland Thorns camera. Still a layer of snow and ice on the ground there. We'll have continued coverage of the weather tonight right after the break.
You're watching the 6 o'clock news. First, live, local,